Hi, this is Dave Redder. This is Project 4. In this project, we're going to use this Hello World app that we built in Project 3 and enhance it in some ways, just to show you some capabilities that we have with Visual Studio, that we have with C#, and that we kind of generally have with a lot of languages. To remind you what this app did, it simply allowed us to click on a button here, say Hello World, and put Hello World in there. So the first thing I want to do is create a button that allows us to clear what's up in this box. To do that, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab a button from the toolbox, set its size to be roughly the size of that box that we've got there, using those alignment features of Visual Studio. And I'm going to change the text on that button to say clear greeting. Also, you'll notice that the font size is not the same as the other button. It makes it look kind of goofy. So what I'm going to do is come down here and change that to the same font size, which is 14. So now we've got this button here, but remember that we need to have buttons with names that mean things, or all controls really should have names that mean things. The name for this button is button 1, and its property value is not correct. So I'm going to change that to m_button clear greeting. And you just need to know you don't need to do that. But if you don't, you're going to have a whole bunch of things that have names like button 1, button 2, button 3, list box 1, text box 1, 2, and 3. And you're not going to know what any of them mean when you're looking at things from this perspective. And so it's important, I think, to have meaningful names so that we can get some help from the IntelliSense and so that we can understand what buttons or what different controls do. Okay, so what I need to do now is to wire this button up so that it clears that, that text box that we've got right there. And if you'll recall, we want to handle the click event for that button. And we can do that for buttons simply by double-clicking on the button. And I got this method. So here's a method called m_button clear greeting. So clearly this is the click event for clicking that button that we named appropriately. And what we want to do with this is to simply change the text for the m_text box greeting to null, or to the empty string. m_tb greeting.text is equal to the empty string. So let's run that and see what happens. So now we've got this. I can click on say hello world, and it says hello world. Then it says clear greeting, and it cleared it. So I can see that these both are working as you can see. The next thing I would like to do is to add another text box and use it in a little bit different way than we've used the other one. So I'm going to come down here and grab a text box. I'm going to put it right down here. And I'm going to call it text box, and this is going to be one to greet. This will be the name of someone or something, some town or whatever, to greet when we click the say hello world button. So I'm going to make it so that when we type into here, if there's something here, it's instead of saying hello world, it's going to put hello Bob if I put Bob down here. Let me put a label on this too, just so your user can know. I often don't give a meaningful name to the label because you rarely refer to labels specifically, although if you're going to refer to it, you should give it a good name. One to greet. So here I've got this. I'm going to line up the baselines with this label and this text box. And now I've got some work to do. In particular, I want to change this say hello world, so that if there's something in the one to greet button or box, which is this box right here, right there, if there's something in that box, then what I want to do is put hello that something. And if there's nothing in that box, then I want to still do hello world. So we're going to use a control structure called a selection structure, in this case an if statement. If m_tb one to greet dot text is equal, that's two equal signs are the comparative, equal to quote quote is the empty string. We don't use the word then in C#. Then what we want to do is just simply put hello world there. Otherwise, what we want to do is m_tb greeting dot text is equal to whatever happens to be in there preceded by hello that. So I'm going to say hello, oops, comma, and then I'm going to add to it the string that is in m_tb greeting, no, tb1 to greet dot text. And then I think I'll just go ahead and add an exclamation mark in there. So let's go over this quickly. If the text box for the one to greet, the one down at the bottom, doesn't have anything in it, then I want the greeting to be hello world. If the text box does have something in it, then I want it to be hello whatever was in that text box for the one to greet, and followed by an exclamation mark. So let's see what happens. So I can still say hello world. I'm going to put Bob in here and click on, it says say hello world, and now I'm getting hello Bob. And if I clear the greeting and say hello world, I get hello Bob. But if I clear this one by deleting it, because it's not read only, I get hello world again. So this is behaving roughly the way it should. But there's another neat thing we can do, and that is to change this as we type in here. We can also change what's in here to say hello Bob or hello B if that's all we've typed. So let's go look and see how we can do that. This box right here has the ability to hold a value, and that value can change. And if I were to click on this events lightning bolt, you'll see that we've got all kinds of events. And in fact, this one called text changed is the default event. I want to just come over here and double click in this spot right here. And what that does is it sets up an event handler that gets called every time that the text of this one to greet text box changes. So what I'm going to do is this. I would like to be able to simply say this piece right here, except use that to set the value of the button, m_button, say hello world dot text is equal to, and I want it to say hello, comma, and then I want it to say m_textbox1 to greet dot text. So when this text changes, it's going to call this method, and what I'm going to do is change what it says on the hello world button to hello one to greet dot text. So let me save all this stuff and let me run this again. Click on say hello world, that still works. Clear the greeting, that still works. I'm going to type Bob in here. Notice Bob, hello Bob. And if I click on this, it says hello Bob. One problem is that it really should say hello Bob, because that's what it said before for just say hello world, I mean. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to say hello Bob on there, and I think I'll put an exclamation mark on the other one. So now if I type Bob in here, it says say hello Bob. Watch this though. There's a little bit of a problem with it. And that little bit of a problem is that it says what it's going to say is in quotes here. And we would like to maintain that. There's a simple way to do that. And that is to simply say this. This backslash character, it's over on my keyboard under the backspace key, but it's on the lowercase part of the vertical bar. And I'm going to put backslash. That's an escape, it says. And it says hello. And then I'm going to put the backslash quote there. That simply means to not consider that as a quote, but rather to use it as the character quote in the string. So now when I run this, I get say hello world, or if I type Bob in here, I get say hello Bob, the same way that it looked for say hello world. So those are some kind of neat little features that we can deal with, a little bit about string management, taking input and using it in the code. I'm going to give one more video here. It'll be a shorter one, but it's going to deal with some things that we can do to simplify the code that we've got here and to make it more usable.